Coming up on our news weekend, gunfire erupts again in the capital. A third killing in less than a day. What police say happened near a church on 2nd Street in the Grove. Also bridging a gap. The Ministry of Works rules out a major infrastructure plan that's set to improve island connectivity. We'll tell you where the first phase is focused straight ahead. And later, the IMF is forecasting slower global growth. But what does that mean for the Bahamas? RF Bank's VP David Slatter breaks it all down in our monthly financial sit-down interview. This is our news weekend. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Natalia Hall in for Megan Shepard. It's the third homicide in less than 24 hours. The latest killing unfolded around 7 Saturday evening on 2nd Street, The Grove. Police say shot spotter technology alerted officers to the scene where they discovered a man lying in the yard of the Church of God of Prophecy with multiple gunshot wounds. He was pronounced dead at the scene by emergency medical services. Chief Superintendent Sharia King shared what preliminary investigations have uncovered.
Preliminary reports indicate that the male was chased by a white Japanese vehicle. The sole occupant of that vehicle exited and opened fire on the deceased. We're asking, as we always do, anyone with information into this matter to please contact us at 919-911 or CDO at 502-9992.
Now, just hours earlier, around midnight Saturday, a man was gunned down while leaving his family home. That was followed by a fatal stabbing not too long after. At this time, police say there's no indication the incidents are connected. As for the latest victim, he is believed to be in his 40s and lived in the area. Residents say they were stunned by the brutal killing. King reaffirmed the police force's ongoing efforts to combat crime and maintain their presence in the community.
The Royal Bahamas Police Force will continue to do our mandate. We'll continue to be dedicated and committed to ensuring that the Bahamas is safe. It is this dedication, it is this commitment that the officers, those that are investigating the matters, those that are assigned crime scene investigators, those that are at stations, those that are on our operation. And it's because of the strategies that we have put in place and we continue to execute that we have our numbers. Yes, one homicide is one too many, but it's because of these strategies that we continue to put in place, we continue to execute, that have our homicides lower than it has been last year.
Now to an update on the scenes of 2 fires that sparked concern in the capital last week. On Bay Street, where a massive fire ripped through a historic building Thursday night. Cleanup is now underway. This as tractors and heavy-duty equipment are on site, and one lane of the road remains blocked off. The front of the damaged property is closed to the public as crews work to clear debris. However, over on Shirley Street, where a second fire broke out Saturday behind a gas station, smoke still lingers in the air. A tractor was also seen at that site earlier today helping to clear debris. Well, the Ministry of Works and Family Island Affairs is rolling out the National Bridge Program, a major initiative officials say is designed to improve connectivity across the Bahamas. The first phase of the program includes 3 bridges in Exuma, 3 in Andros, and 1 in New Providence. Minister of Works and Family Island Affairs Clay Sweeting shared more details.
We have a team from the UK. We have a few acro bridges throughout the Bahamas. I think 2, one in Abaco, one in Spanish Wells. That seems and proven to be convenient and budget friendly in the way that they're constructed. So we're looking at constructing new bridges in areas where these seem to be had their time, so to say, and we want to really construct new ones.
Sweeting says renderings and technical drawings for the upcoming projects are complete. This week, officials visited the ferry bridge in Exuma, one of the sites set for redevelopment. The project is being developed in collaboration with Amy Consulting, a UK-based infrastructure firm known for its work in sustainable bridge construction. Deputy Prime Minister and Exuma Member of Parliament Chester Cooper is backing the upgrade, citing his personal connection to the ferry bridge.
This bridge was built in the 60s. In fact, my personal connection goes even further. Before this bridge was actually constructed, there was a barge that was pulled from one side to the next, and it was my grandfather who was pulling that barge on one side. So this goes back far as a connection with my family and with the Little Exuma community.
All right, such good news. Well, opposition leader Michael Pintard is firing back against North and Central Andros MP Leon Lundy over recent comments on the state of banking in the Family Islands. Pintard says the issue has impacted thousands of Bahamians for years and deserves more than political commentary. Lundy recently said he raised an alarm about the ongoing banking crisis in South Andros and Mangrove Key to speak on behalf of his constituents, not to score political points. He acknowledged the steep decline in bank branches across the Family Islands since 2014, calling it a national issue that spans multiple administrations. But speaking with reporters on the sidelines of the Ministry of Education's new high school science textbook launch, Pintard said the problem is far from new and action should have come long ago.
He's feeling the pinch that thousands, tens of thousands of Bahamians have been feeling all around the Bahamas, throughout the Family Islands, that they do not have the appropriate banking facilities that they need. And the post office banking system is deeply broken and causing the Bahamian people money unnecessarily. So we have recommended a series of recommendations that ought to happen. One, we believe that we do need a brick and mortar banking facility that is in place, and we've suggested some ways that can happen. We can in fact make available the spaces that are presently being used by the post office system.
Pintard is recommending tax breaks to incentivize commercial banks to return to rural communities. He adds, banking fees tied to online platforms also need to be reviewed and reduced.
Yes, we support mobile banking and mobile money and sand dollar, and so persons should be educated to also use that, but it should not be to the exclusion of banking facilities. We also need to review the fees, and the central bank agreed with us. We had an opportunity to meet with them, and we intend to meet with the clearing banks, and so we believe that there's more that can be done to make sure that no unnecessary fees are attached to consumers. And it must be much easier for persons to use the online platform without being taxed for it.
And Works and Family Island Affairs Minister Clay Sweeting also says residents on the Family Islands continue to face challenges in keeping up with modern banking trends. His comments came in response to concerns raised by South Andros Member of Parliament Leon Lundy as well. Speaking on the sidelines of a home key ceremony in Eleuthera, Sweeting shared his observations.
I think that nationally, when you look at banking, banks usually traverse where there is economic boom or where you see a lot of activity. The challenge for Family Islands is that the need to be able to move to the 21st century banking is also needed. So challenges where there are areas that need banking, there are also opportunities. You know, a lot of times we speak about challenges and what's wrong. But this is also opportunities for persons.
With most commercial banks being Canadian-owned, Sweeting noted there's space for Bahamian-led solutions to fill the gaps.
Commonwealth Bank is a Bahamian bank, a Bahamian-owned bank. This could possibly be an opportunity for another group of Bahamians who has funding to also fill those gaps in other areas. So I think whenever we look at challenges, it's not always something that's negative. It's an opportunity for persons to fill those gaps. We have some of these young individuals with young companies like Canoe and Cash and Go that is evolving the way we bank in some of these Family Islands.
When our news weekend comes back from the break, a blessing in Eleuthera, several families receiving the keys to new homes through government's rent-to-own initiative. We were there for the handover ceremony. Plus, as global trade tensions rise and local tourism numbers are stagnant, RF Bank's David Slatter weighs in on what it could mean for your money and the Bahamian economy. That's all coming up when our news weekend returns.
Family, how you look so down? Set up all cold and flu, could flip that frown. All the coughing and that runny nose cannot last. You must come back to work and class. Set them all can deal with that fast, yeah. Try set them all cold and flu, daytime and nighttime too. Try set them all cold and flu and get back to the better you. Available at pharmacies nationwide.
Distributed by Lowe's Wholesale Drug Agencies Limited.
Government's rent-to-own initiative has now reached a southern community on Eleuthera. This week, several families received what many are calling the blessing of a lifetime. Our Joshua Williams was there.
6 residents received keys to their brand new homes this week in Eleuthera. The Ocean Hole Estates is the latest development on the government's rent-to-own housing initiative. The homes come in 3 different models. Some of them even include car garages. I spoke to one homeowner who says finally owning a house on the island where she and her husband spent most of their lives is a dream come true.
Just ecstatic and appreciative and just so happy to be homeowners here in Roxtown. My husband is from Eleuthera and this was basically his dream, but as his wife I followed behind him and we're just appreciative that we were given this opportunity. Very happy.
Stephanie Pierce, who is visually impaired, accepted the keys on behalf of her daughter.
I'm very proud of her, and she already has children, so it's a benefit for her at this time to really have a home. I think it's a chance for most of our young people to see that they can live in a home and pay for a home and make it more comfortable for both them and their children.
For Prime Minister Philip Davis, it's about shifting the landscape of Bahamian home ownership.
Whether it's because of rising land prices, whether it's because of rigid lending rules, or not enough affordable options, the dream of owning a home has been just that, a dream. We are here to change that, and we are here changing it with action.
And for Central and South Eleuthera MP Clay Sweeting, who grew up on the island, the initiative is personal.
Today marks more than just a move into a new home, a new house. Today marks the beginning of a new chapter, one filled with dreams, with memories waiting to be made, and with pride that comes from owning a space that is truly your own.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
Thanks so much, Josh. Well, the International Monetary Fund has downgraded its global growth forecast to 2.8% for the year, citing trade tensions, market volatility, and growing political uncertainty. In its latest World Economic Outlook, the IMF's chief economist warned that rising policy instability could impact global recovery efforts. The fund's message to world leaders focus on controlling inflation, safeguarding the independence of central banks, and working together to prevent a deeper economic slowdown. Meanwhile, the Central Bank of the Bahamas released its quarterly update this week. Governor John Roll told reporters that stagnant tourism numbers, inflation, and continued global trade tensions are weighing heavily on the local economy. And in our monthly sit-down interview with RF Bank and Trust Vice President and Group Head of Investment, David Slatter, he shared his take on the forecasts.
Yeah, I think that, the IMF recently upgraded our growth expectation to 1.7% from 1.6%. So, statistically, it really hasn't changed, right? The downside risk is that, the tariff policy of the U.S. does lead to inflation, does lead to slower economic growth in the U.S., which could feed into the Bahamian economy through tourism, which is our main generator of wealth, right? And if you look at the tourism numbers, actually, through February, the stopover numbers continued to decline. So year over year, it's down around 3.2%. On the cruise industry side, it's more like upside around 15 to 16% year over year. So overall, tourism's up over 12% year over year, but it's because of the cruise sector. I guess fortunately, the cruise sector, its base of customer would be more middle income. Versus stopover visitors tend to be, higher income. So I think the cruise sector can withstand an economic slowdown in the U.S. Better than, say, the stopover side. So hopefully, the recession does not occur in the U.S., which is a possibility. All right, but hopefully that does not happen, and hopefully we do have the positive growth in the Bahamas that is expected.
All right, still to come in our news weekend, it started with fatigue and nausea, but it turned into something far more serious. Our Daniel Miller speaks with a young woman battling a rare health condition. In this exclusive coming up,
a Bahamian college basketball coach is going to run it back. Find out who next on our Sports Weekend.
Get ready to shop till you drop The Vitamalt shopping spree is back, and you could be the next winner of a $500 shopping spree. Here's how to enter. Buy a 6-pack of ginger, acai, or coconut and hibiscus Vitamalt from any Super Value or 700 Wines and Spirits location. Snap a picture of your receipt and WhatsApp your name and photo of the receipt to 825-2191. This promotion ends Saturday, April 19th. Will you be the next lucky shopper? Vitamalt. Vitalize naturally.
Good evening, welcome to Our Sports Weekend. I'm Tej Adderley. New Providence native Mikhail McLean is one of the top assistants in all of college basketball at the University of Kentucky. A big announcement came down yesterday that he is locked in with Big Blue for the next few years. The Lexington Herald leader has announced the University of Kentucky has extended 33-year-old assistant coach Mikhail McLean through 2027 with a major salary jump from $150K to over $400,000 a year over the life of the contract. McLean began his college hoops career as a standout at the University of Houston, playing in 101 games and serving as team captain. After graduation, he moved into coaching, helping the Cougars reach the Sweet 16 in 2019, and then joining Lamar University, where he helped them to their best record in over a decade. He joined new head coach Mark Pope in the Bluegrass State this past season, playing a key role in developing their front court, helping them to a 24-12 record and a Sweet 16 run. And now he's being rewarded for all the work that he put in. And Mikhail is also using his talents to help the Bahamas. He's been instrumental in Bahamas basketball's recent rise, serving as the associate head coach for the senior men's team. He'll spend this summer getting Team 242 ready for a run at the World Cup and the Olympics. Now we're over to the Diamond to see what Bahamians did last night. It was quiet in the MLB as Jazzism of the New York Yankees is expected to be out for the month with an oblique strain, and Anton Richardson and the New York Mets game was postponed. But down in the minors, however, Christian Robinson continues to swing a hot bat for the Amarillo Sod Poodles. The Arizona Diamondbacks prospect went 2 for 5 with a double and an RBI to help the Saudis get a 4-0 win over the Midland Rockhounds. And Ryan Reckley was 0 for 4 as his San Jose Giants fell 12-4 to the Modesto Nuts. And before we go, Buddy Hield and the Warriors are playing for all the marbles tonight. Game 7 against the Rockets tips off in the next hour. You don't want to miss that. That is a wrap for sports on this Sunday evening. For Our Sports Weekend, I'm Tej Adderley. Have a great week.
Thanks so much, Tej. On the other side of this break, it started with fatigue and nausea, but it turned into something far more serious. Tonight, we hear from a young woman battling a rare health condition. Stick with us.
Get ready to shop till you drop. The Vitamalt shopping spree is back, and you could be the next winner of a $500 shopping spree. Here's how to enter. Buy a 6-pack of ginger, acai, or coconut and hibiscus Vitamalt from any Super Value or 700 Wines and Spirits location. Snap a picture of your receipt and WhatsApp your name and photo of the receipt to 825-2191. This promotion ends Saturday, April 19th. Will you be the next lucky shopper? Vitamalt. Vitalize naturally.
Welcome back to Our News Weekend. Fatigue, nausea, and skin irritation are common issues many of us has faced at one point or another. In this next report, our Daniel Miller introduces us to a young woman whose seemingly ordinary symptoms turned out to be signs of a rare and challenging condition. Let's take a look.
At first, it was only a little rash here, a little rash there, and it was happening during the summertime, so I just thought it was heat rash, and then I had swelling. This was a few years ago, but in my very early 30s, it started to get worse.
Roche Ferguson is a young woman who lives an ordinary life. She says her symptoms seemed harmless at first, but over time, things took a turn, landing her in and out of hospital. Eventually, doctors diagnosed her with allergic angioedema.
Allergic angioedema is when the antibodies fight against itself. So it's swelling under the skin and it protrudes to the top of the skin.
The condition can cause swelling in the airways and digestive system, episodes that can be painful and last for days. There's no known cure, and patients often face years of treatment. Still, Roche remains positive.
I'm actually relieved because I could actually put a name to this thing that's swelling me up, that's causing me to have shortness of breath.
She also finds comfort in knowing the condition rarely affects reproductive health and is not commonly hereditary. But she admits the emotional toll of her journey hasn't been easy, and at times she battled with depression. Yet, she says her greatest source of strength has come from her faith.
Boy, my strength comes from God. Seriously. And it's crazy because I was always faith-based. But after this happened, I wholeheartedly and fully relied on God every day after. What I realized was I couldn't do it all on my own. Yes, the doctors could help me. Yes, the meds could help me. But I said, the only thing I could do is rely on God.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Danielle Miller.
Thanks for that story, Danny. Well, beautiful weather on this Sunday. Wondering what else we can expect for the rest of the week? Meteorologist Greg Thompson is in the Weather Center with your first look at weather. Greg, what can you tell us?
Yeah, thanks, Italia, and a happy Sunday evening, everybody. A warm and humid day around the islands. We have a lot of clouds outside, a couple of thunderstorms popping up across the Andros area, spreading most of that across us. Keeping us on the humid side, 78 degrees our current temperature on the cloudy skies. East-southeast winds at 12 miles per hour. Feels like temperature is at 79. Temperatures right now around the islands, 78 in Freeport, 77 in Marsh Harbor, Abaco, as well as in Great Harbor Key, Alistown, Bimini, and in Nicholstown, Andros. Here in the capital and Governor's Harbor, 78. Central Bahamas, 79. Kemps Bay, Georgetown, Deadman's Key. We pick up 77s in Black Point, the Exuma Chain, 77 in Arthurstown, Cat Island, Port Nelson, Rum Key, and Coburn Townsend, Salvador, 78s there, and into the southeast Bahamas. 80 in Duncantown, Ragged Island, Abrams Bay. We pick up 79, Colonel Hill, Cricket Island, Delectable Bay. Over in Providencial, Tricks and Kickers Island, Matthew County now, where you are the warm spot at 82 degrees. Satellite radar composite, very active across the northwest Bahamas. Frontal boundary and prefrontal trough moving into the area. Showers and thunderstorms will be spreading across that area. We got some of those activity earlier today here in the capital. That thunderstorm, as I mentioned, across Andros, blowing up across our area. But this will continue to hang across the northwest Bahamas, so we're looking at a wet weather pattern across the northwest Bahamas tonight through tomorrow, and it looks as though it may last into Tuesday, so we could use the rainfall, and we will pray that things stay a little on the quiet side. Future forecast showing the moisture associated with that frontal boundary and that prefrontal trough, mainly across the northwest Bahamas, couple of isolated showers in the central Bahamas through Monday, and that, as I mentioned, hanging around through Tuesday, so more showers will remain in the forecast during that time frame. Boating forecast for the northwest Bahamas tonight to tomorrow. Southeast to south winds 10 to 15 knots, seas running 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. Low tide will be at 8:42 tonight. Your high tide takes place at 3:02 in the morning for the central and southeast Bahamas. East to southeasterly flow at 10 to 15 knots. Seas will be running 2 to 4 feet over open waters. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In the extended forecast, with that frontal boundary and the prefrontal trough hanging across the area, we'll keep showers in the forecast Monday and Tuesday. High pressure will build in behind that through the balance of the week, but temperatures will start to climb into the mid-80s. Looks as though we may even hit some upper 80s by the end of the week. That's a look at our weather. Make it a safe night, everybody.
All right, thanks so much, Greg. Well, the Primeval Forest National Park is a hidden gem in southwestern New Providence, a natural maze with rich history and home to an array of native trees. Often described as one of the country's natural treasures, the old-growth woodland offers visitors a glimpse into the Bahamas' prehistoric past. To mark National Parks Day on Saturday, April 26th, the Our News team explored the forest, where a number of interactive activities were organized to help guests connect with nature. Park manager and New Providence planner with the Bahamas National Trust, Chantel Curtis, says the area is unlike any other.
And there's no other place like this in the Bahamas. Here in this park, we have roughly 19 sinkholes per acre. We have 7.5 acres, and we have 175 sinkholes, all which have been mapped. And this is the highest concentration of interconnected sinkholes that we know of in the Bahamas. So some of the activities that we're doing here are yoga, so you get that nice wusa and om experience. We also have pottery, so people are really hands-on, feeling the earth, connecting to the environment. We also have guided tours. And then, of course, we want people to learn a lot more about the flora or plant life that we have in the park. And so we have a scavenger hunt.
We also had the opportunity to take a look at a time capsule of what once was a vibrant marine life ecosystem.
So, for instance, you see like that cone shape, right? That is from the sea anemone, but it's not the actual organism, right? Because the organism would be made of soft tissue, and so that would not be fossilized. But what is fossilized is the evidence of its presence.
All right, to see that story again is available now at ournews.bs or on Facebook at Our News Bahamas. With that, we thank you for joining us for Our News Weekend. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Natalia Hall. Have a safe and wonderful evening.
Hey guys, Megan Shepherd here. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click that subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. Just click right over here. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so you stay up to date with content like this from the team you already trust.